On today's show,
I think the people that are successful, ability to go into any room and being able to adapt to it. It's not the connections you have, right? Because people say, if I get the right connection, hook up with the right person. You know what? If I go to the right church, or I get the right job, there's plenty of people out there to get all of that, still haven't necessarily be fulfilled, right? They fulfill for a moment, but they still not at the point where like, okay, you know what? I'm good.
you belong here. Any room that you walk into, that's your room. There, you can sit at any table and just be yourself. Like if you like flashy clothes, wear your flashy clothes. If you wear pumps all the time, wear your pumps. Do you be comfortable in you? Be excited about being you. We are Tristan and Michael. When we got married, we didn't really know what we were getting into. The busyness and challenges of a blended family, trying to figure out how to love an imperfect person, dealing with the ups and downs of becoming one, and everything that goes into having a successful relationship. Let's learn how to heal, how to forgive, and how to grow. This is Fused. Thank you for tuning in. We are Tristan and Michael, and you are listening to Fused, transparent conversations for marriage, family, and relationships. We invite you to join us as we discuss perspectives that are thought about but not talked about. So tell your friends and family to check us out and connect with us on social media at Fused Marriages. Join the conversation by emailing us info@fusedmarriages.com. All right, sir. How you feeling?
Man, doing amazing. Amazing. Thanksgiving just passed.
It did.
You know what? I think I ate too much pie.
I think you ate too much pie. Absolutely agree with that.
But that's not possible during spring break, during Thanksgiving.
Michael, you ate like 2 pies.
Hey, I had help. And y'all didn't see me eat all that, so.
We knew it was gone, and you were the only one. You had crumbs on your face and everything. That was you.
Hey, that's what Thanksgiving's for.
Is it?
Happy Thanksgiving, y'all.
Happy Thanksgiving. All right, so what are we talking about today, sir?
Let's go on and jump into it. Today, we are going to talk about why relationships are not successful. And that can actually spin off to why people aren't, why businesses aren't, why whatever relationship you're talking about.
Okay.
So it's, we focus on marriage, but you can actually apply this to across the board. To your kids, to yourself.
So we're encapsulating that whole thing in this one conversation.
Yeah. We're trying. I mean, we can't probably talk about all of it,
okay.
But I think if people just open their minds up, they can say, okay, you know what? I can see how that can apply just to me.
Free your mind.
I like that.
Yeah. You know that song.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Who sings it?
I don't know singers.
See? How you gonna sing a hook?
I don't know singers, and I don't know full songs.
God,
I know
song.
I know the hooks and the chorus, and then the rest is like, that's me.
That's In Vogue.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I believe it.
It is.
Okay. All right.
I think
so
it's
go,
1998.
Go. Okay. Yeah. So why relationships fail? This is what we're boiling down our conversation to today.
So why relationships fail? I think we're all trying to have successful relationships, right? Mm-hmm. And we're all trying to be successful.
Sure.
So we're going to kind of, look at that as one piece, right?
Okay.
I'm trying to be successful, which in turn makes my relationship successful.
Okay.
Is my relationship successful, then I'm successful. You can't separate the two. Mm-hmm. You can't win in one area and lose in another.
Because you're not winning.
You're not winning.
Right.
People try to do that, though. They try to win in business, but they lose with the family.
Wow. Yeah.
They try to win in family, and they lose in the business.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, okay, I want to be able to win in both. Nobody's perfect, right? Nobody's trying to be able to say, okay, I got everything figured out. Mm-hmm. But I think that's the one. That's the goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. It's almost sad. Like you hear all the stories of these successful businessmen that are on marriage 9 or 10 and they just can't do that together. So I completely, or people that have great success in their marriage, but they say man, I never feel like I reached my full potential.
Yeah.
So, okay. So what are you boiling this conversation down to? Why do they?
I think we can hit on 3 points. With the time that we have, I think we can at least touch on 3 of them.
Okay.
Right. It's probably more. Y'all may have some other insight on additional stuff, but these are our 3. We'll talk about them. Y'all can give us some feedback. What y'all think about this?
Absolutely. info@fusedmarriages.com.
Hey, plug that. Plug that. I like that.
Social media. Check us out at Fused Marriages. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So point number 1.
Point number 1 is that I don't think people have mastered themselves. So the reason why they are not successful as a person is that they haven't mastered themselves.
Okay. Break that down. What's that look like?
So a lot of times we think, okay, you know what? If I get more money, I'm successful, right? Which is, I mean, I always think this, you know what? If I can get this debt paid off, go get this house, get this car, I'm successful.
Okay.
I think that argument gets debunked when you see rich people not happy, don't feel success. You know what I mean? They go do drugs, they go chase other things, they go. It's like they're not fulfilled in a way that money can provide.
Yeah.
So money is good. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with pursuing money. But it's not the end all.
Right.
So it's not money, right? It's not the connections you have, right? Because people say, you know, if I get the right connection, hook up with the right person. You know what? If I go to the right church, if I get the right job, there's plenty of people out there to get all of that, still haven't necessarily be fulfilled, right? They fulfill for a moment, but they still not at the point where like, okay, you know what? I'm good. It's still something else that's actually missing there, right? And they say, you know what? The other one is like, you know what? Education. Let me go, you know what? I'm finna, you know, go get this degree. I'm gonna go get all this stuff, you know what I mean? That's gonna help me credentials. I'm gonna get all that. And at the end of the day, like, they get that and like, okay, now what? It's like, and I'm going to the point where say you master yourself. It's like you have to know who you are, know what you're about, know what your sources are. Everybody's source is different. I know my source is, you know what I mean? I come from my sources, but your source has to be something that's fulfilling beyond the things that are actually the world is trying to offer you.
Okay. So you just said a whole lot. So I'm gonna try to like
unpack
dig
it for
in a little bit. All right. So mastering yourself, according to what you just said, is bottom line knowing yourself, knowing who you are, what's important to you, and how you define these things, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so, all right, so I have to process. Okay, so mastering yourself, what that looks like is maybe not putting all of your eggs into your connections and your friendships and even your relationship. And then also, in addition to that, looking at, okay, I don't have to have this degree. I don't have to have a PhD. Nothing wrong with the PhDs, but I don't have to have a PhD to define myself as successful. And then I don't have to have a certain amount of income or have this much in my bank account to define myself as successful. But what that also makes me think of is then, how do people define success? Is it not according to their own experiences? Because some people that might say, well, I came from nothing, so I describe success and I attribute my success to, to having this much income, to not having to depend on, to those sorts of things. Or people that have an education, well, I worked my way up. I graduated from this school with this degree, and I did that because of the hard work that I did. So then what does mastering yourself look like? If it's knowing yourself, what are the tools to get to know yourself?
I mean, I think once you, to me, I try to draw the line of like, okay, once you said you put the eggs all in that basket, right? And you're saying, okay, once I achieve this, I'm going to have it. Whatever that is, I'm going to have that peace, have that joy, have that, I'm going to have it. And if you put yourself and say, if you don't get that, or let's say you get it and then you lose it, do you lose that peace, lose that happiness, lose that, you know what I mean? Let's say, you know what, I'm going to give an example of education, right? And, you know, I'm going to get my education, I'm going to go to this school, and the school is actually fraud. They don't give degrees out. I think Trump did that. You know what I mean?
You know where we're staying. Okay.
Well, I'm just saying that happened, right? And people are like, man, I thought I was going to spend all this money going to get this. Now I don't have it, and I'm not. I mean, like, you know what I mean? So you're putting that all whatever who you are into that. When you put yourself into that thing, the money, education, the connections, the job, the career, and all of a sudden those start like being pulled away just from life circumstances, right? Nothing you can control necessarily. Then you're like, man, okay, where am I at? If we're talking about having like the reason why people or relationships aren't successful is I think they're putting their things, ideas, thoughts, heart into the wrong buckets. And they're not mastering themselves, right? Because I got to be good regardless without them things.
Right.
If I'm not good without those things and those things go away, then my relationship's going to suffer.
Yeah.
I lose my money. I'm good with money. I'm everything. You know what? I can go to vacations. I can buy the house. If I lose it, then all of a sudden, not just I lose myself, I lose my relationship connections of how people relate to me now.
Yeah.
Because now I'm ashamed. Like, man, I used to have. Now they're looking at me like, I'm taking the bus and it's all. You know what I mean? It's like the mentality changes.
I think it has a lot to do with how you're describing it. It just makes me think of having this inner peace, this inner steadiness. Like, okay, no matter what, like what you said, no matter what happens, I know me, and that takes a lot of reflection and evaluation, and it really takes a lot of alone time. Like it's you. I know some. I'm just speak from my background of like some women. I know a lot of women would attribute who they are to who their husband is. Like, oh, well, yeah, this is my last name and my husband is this, versus kind of like, yeah, I'm married, but this is who I am. You know,
right.
these are the different things that I like certainly to become one. And, we start to kind of merge some of our ideas and philosophies and life principles, but I'm still this created being that has, different thoughts than you might have. Like, I think that's what makes relationships work, is that, where I'm weak, you're strong, where you're strong, I'm weak. And we strengthen each other as we kind of elevate, but also recognizing this, that this doing the work, what that is, how you deal with your own trauma, how you manage your emotions, how you respond to what's happening in the world, that's that part of who am I? And we are ever evolving. And I've said this before, but you're always changing. So ensuring that in your change and in your adjustment, that you're in tune with that. Like, I've kind of gone in a negative direction. How did I get here? How do I get to a more positive place? What do I need to do? What do I need to read? What kinds of things do I, and it's dangerous to kind of put that on somebody else, to say like, hey, I'm not okay, fix it, And I think partners are great and they can help steer you. I think partners are great in being able to talk some things out. I think partners are great in being able to encourage you to get there. But making it their responsibility for you to be okay. If I'm not okay, it's because of you and you didn't do your part. I think that's not taking responsibility for yourself. And I think that ultimately will put you in this position where you don't know yourself, where you're emotionally incapable of handling you in the world, No,
100% agree. No. I think, as I can just kind of process what you're saying for one, and like, mastering yourself is like, I think what you said, that inner, just knowing you, right? Mm-hmm. Because I believe that, we're all created for something, for a reason.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Right. We're all created for a reason. We're on this earth for a reason. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as you can figure that out, then you can say all that stuff is just really props to really help you achieve what you're trying to do. Mm-hmm. So if money is money, I want to get money, but I want to get money to be able to pursue what my vision or what God has really given me the ability to do in this earth.
Yeah, I really like.
So there's nothing wrong with that. So that's what I'm saying. Nothing wrong with education. Nothing wrong with money. Nothing wrong with connections. But those are just supporting tools to really help push you to what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to repeat what you just said, because you said those things are all props to move you towards like a destiny, a calling, or a purpose. And I think that's just a great way to describe, your degrees. It's just a prop. It's just somewhere to help you get somewhere else, to accomplish something, to a tool to be used in your belt. Because ultimately, like the, like the mechanic is not, I don't know what mechanics use, but they're not like what's in their tool though. They're not a wrench. That's
a screwdriver.
Thank you, baby. Yeah, all those. Yeah.
A drill.
So,
I'm just keep saying, what they use. I'm just giving you. Okay.
Well, I appreciate it. Appreciate that. So they're not a wrench. They are a mechanic that uses a wrench. Well, So I think of that as, if we saw ourselves, our giftings, our things in a different way, then it would. I really believe that could be revolutionary. It really could be, if you didn't see yourself and say like, well, I'm a medical student, and because you can get sick and not graduate when you thought you were going to, or you can lose your job. I'm a corporate man. That's only a piece of how you put yourself in position to be the most effective. So I find that very, very interesting. A really good tool. Okay, so we're kind of talking about this concept of mastering yourself.
Right. Trying to be successful.
And that's how you are successful in life and in relationships and in the world, is that accountability piece. So you're not depending on your money. You're not depending on your connections to whomever, and you're not depending on your education. Yep. Okay, so what's the next thing? How do we master ourselves?
So the next one is, you know what, most of us, I think, have to go through this growing phase of not understanding how to adapt to situations. Right? And it's like our ability to go into, I think the people that are successful, ability to go into any room and being able to adapt to it. Right? There's a scripture, I'm not going to read it, but there's a scripture basically says, you know, I became all things so that I can basically try to win some. And I'm summarizing there what Paul said, right? In 1 Corinthians, it's like he had the ability to say, you know, if I had to be a Jew, I'll be a Jew. If I had to be a Roman, I'd be a Roman. If I had to be whatever, you know what, in order to really, so that I can try to win some, right? If we try to apply that to like, okay, our relationships, I'm trying to win in my relationship. I'm trying to win with my family. I'm trying to win with my in-laws. I'm trying to win with my friendships. And the goal is, right, I can't win them all, but the goal, he said, it's like, you know, your ability, you want to try to win some. So if you can't adapt, people don't ability adapt to different scenarios, right? Some people can't, you know what, if they come out of, you know, whatever the nice neighborhood, Highland Park, which is in Dallas, they can't go to Oak Cliff. They don't know how to adapt. They don't feel comfortable. So they can't go talk to nobody in Oak Cliff. Because they come from an area like they say, you know, okay, I'm good in this, but I'm not good in that. Some people in Oak Cliff can't go to Highland Park, right? And figure we're trying to say go as far as like trying to win.
I feel you.
Trying to win somebody or try to really have influence.
I feel like they can't relate.
Have that influence, right? I think there's some people out there that are very good. They don't care if you're rich or poor, they can talk to you. They don't care if you're black or white, they can talk to you. And I'm saying talk to you, they can relate to you and you can relate to them. To me, that's talking, right? When you can relate, talking and using words, that's not talking. The ability to relate to people and have conversations that like, you know what? Okay, I understand where you're coming from, even if I don't agree, and be able to have that back and forth, right? So to be able to do that, I think you have to be able to adapt situations. We're going to apply that to like relationships. A lot of things going to happen, right? I'm not like you, you not like me. Can you adapt to me? Can I adapt to you? Can you adapt to the things that I have that came before you? Can I adapt to things you had that came before me? You know what I mean? You were, you know, an actress, singer on the camera. That's what, I didn't come from that life, right? I came from this real basketball, sports, education, corporate America. And I had the ability to adapt to what you bring to the table, which is different from me, but it's still good. And vice versa.
Yeah. So that's really great when you're talking about the ability to adapt to people. And as you were talking, the person that came to mind, regardless of your political persuasion, was Barack Obama. And the reason that he came to mind is, if you haven't read Becoming, please get that. It's Michelle Obama's book. But one of the things, she talks a lot about kind of what it looked like in these different spheres of influence. And as I thought about his presidency, I was like, he made the, you know, poor person feel equal to the wealthy person. He made the educated feel equal to those that lacked education. You know, he made, you know, these politicians and, you know, bookworms seem just as close to him as the person that liked basketball or that, not that those are opposites. I don't want to make it like that. But, you know, these things in life that, you know, you might not necessarily put all in the same basket, or that they might not connect. He made everybody have this sense of connection, this sense of being heard. And was able to be like, when I think of the scripture that you referenced, I always thought of a chameleon, and a chameleon is always a chameleon. They might change their color, they might change their location, but they're still them. So when we're talking about adapting, it's not that you're changing you. It might mean that you like, okay, I'm going to emphasize this because this is a way to connect to this person. If I go on the basketball court and I don't talk anything about basketball, they're not going to relate to me. If I'm sitting up here saying, well, I'm a football player, I play football, even though those are a little closer. But if you say, okay, I'm a singer, I don't have anything to do with basketball, that's not my thing, I don't really, then they're going to be like, oh, okay, cool. But you're not going to be able to have any real connection, any real dialogue. Right. So we're talking about being able to be flexible and being able to kind of fit and feel comfortable in every situation. It's because, you know, you're a chameleon. You know, like, you still are comfortable with, this is what I am. But I can talk to you. I don't have any problem with you. I can talk to you. So I think that that's just such a great idea of being able to be so centered in who you are, no matter what environment you go into, you're still who you are. You're still confident in who you are. But I can I can have a conversation with you. There are things that you know that I don't know, that I know that you don't know. Let's share in this kind of global conversation.
Yeah, and I like how this all connected, right? We talked about the first one, mastering yourself. We're talking about how do you have a relationship, or at least a successful relationship, rather. Master yourself. Master yourself so that then you can be able to adapt to anything. Even though you know who you are, you can still adapt to, you know what? I can go to any kind of church. I can go to predominantly white church, predominantly black church, and like, you know what? I know who I am. I'm not going to be uncomfortable in those situations. Yeah. And it's just interesting how that all kind of links up, right? Where you got to like, man, okay, I need to be able to adapt to. We're talking about relationship, marriage, or or romantic relationships. Like, hey, they're going to bring something different to the table. They family going to be different. You know what I mean? They going to think different. Can I adapt and still keep who I am to what the situation is? Because not the fact that you lose yourself. You know what I mean? And I hate to keep going back to the scripture, but I mean, the first part of it says, though I am free. So it's like, it's not the point that's saying, the point is like, it's not saying that, you know what, I'm going to be everything to everybody just because. I know that I'm free. I know who I am. That's how I relate to that. I know who I am, but I'm still going to try to maneuver through these situations so that I can possibly have influence. Win some is what they say. You know what I mean? Really. So it's just interesting how they all tie together.
But one of the things I want to point out before you go to your third point is being able to be comfortable in a situation is not the same thing as preference. Like, right. I can be comfortable and chill anywhere. Like you said, I can go to any kind of church. I can go any kind of restaurant or whatever, but I might have a preference. I'm from Texas. I really like Tex-Mex. Like, that's what I like. You know, like, I want my tamales and my tacos and my enchiladas. Like, that's what I like to eat. Yeah. But I'm cool if we, go to like a hamburger stand and you get some French fries and stuff. Like, that's cool, but I still have my preference. So I'm comfortable going over here and eating burgers and fries with y'all, but I prefer this. So being able to go is what we're talking about. Being able to be comfortable there, to be like, all right, yeah, we can kick it, no problem. And I think everybody also has like their, and let me say this is not talking about like particular boundaries. If there's like, okay, that's not where I'm called to, you know what I'm saying? So not everybody is going to be called to be a missionary, like to be going overseas, but there's work to be done where you are. And for those that are called to be missionaries, go be you, go continue to expand and explore. Not everybody's going to be like, hey, I'm going to be, I'm going to be kicking it with, these rappers, like that might not be your thing. Like you could be chilling and be cool and like, hey, have decent dialogue. That might not just be like your preference. So I guess I just want to kind of encapsulate that idea of continuing to be free. Like you said, continuing to be who you are, but being able to like sit in that and to be who you are wherever you are. And I think for me, that's something that I really admire in people is like their fluidity, their ability to kind of like be in any room and to say, I belong here. I belong. That's something I tell myself. That's something I tell my friends. That's something I tell my children. Like, no, you belong here. Any room that you walk into, that's your room. There, you can sit at any table and just be yourself. Like if you like flashy clothes, wear your flashy clothes. If you wear pumps all the time, wear your pumps. Do you be comfortable in you, be excited about being you. But that does take doing that work. That does take having those real conversations with you. That does take really dealing with some of the stressors and some of the issues and some of the challenges that you have. And even in your weakness, even saying like, yep, I don't do that well. I struggle in that area. It doesn't mean quit. It doesn't mean like, I'm not going to even try anymore. But that might not be your thing. Like Michael's mom, she makes pies. She makes really good pies and cakes and desserts. That's not my thing. I make a couple different sweets, but I can. That's not something I'm going to like necessarily say like, oh, I'm going to open up a bakery. But I'm cool being in the kitchen when she's making pies. I'm cool, maybe helping her with some hand and, sifting flour or whatever. I can do that because I'm comfortable in knowing this is not my thing. It's your strength. So I'll help you And I might learn a couple things from you, but I like to make casseroles. I like to make dinners. I like to make real hearty meals. That's something I do well. That's something I really like to do. So being comfortable in both the things that you are weak in and saying, okay, I can improve, I can learn, but also being confident in your strengths. And that doesn't mean being boastful, but being like, okay, yeah, that's something I do. That's something I like to do. Okay, so what's the third thing? Why our relationships don't work? Mastering ourselves.
Yeah, I think the third thing almost is closely tied to being able to adapt. But like, sometimes, when you can't adapt, you end up getting in a tough situation and people can't handle it, right? Mm-hmm. And then, choices are made because, just the pressure of it, it gets tight, right? Because you're not able to adapt. I hate to use that word again, but like to mold yourself into what's need to be done.
Yeah.
So, but I think the third thing is basically saying that, hey, you and I talked about, what your ability to handle your emotions, right? If you're trying to have a successful relationship, like if you can't handle your emotions, then there's no way for this relationship to be successful.
That's huge. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then it once your emotions start to affect your ability to perform, and I'm saying, or really to relate to people, it's a wrap. Yeah. Right? That cannot drive the relationship whenever, I get way up here, now it affects my relationship with who I'm trying to do. Business relationship, romantic relationship, family relationship, whatever that relationship is, it starts to affect it.
That's huge. Yeah.
And I think that's probably one of the bigger ones, like being able to handle the emotional aspect of, say you can't adapt, say you don't know, you're not mastered yourself yet. And then the pressure kicks in. And then I'm in a scenario where my emotions take over my ability to perform. I have a little example just in my mind, like, people may not remember this, but Nick Anderson, basketball player for Orlando Magic, going way back to like 1995, was playing with Shaquille O'Neal in the NBA Finals. 95% free throw shooter, right? Mm-hmm. He got to the free throw line. It's like maybe 5-6 seconds left on the game. Had to 3 free throws, got fouled shooting a 3-pointer. Mm-hmm. This man missed all 3 free throws. Why? Why he missed that?
Pressure?
The pressure, couldn't handle the emotions of the situation, right? Wasn't able to perform. His emotions affect. He's a 95% free throw shooter in every scenario until the pressure kicks in. The emotions take over. Now I wasn't able to adapt to the circumstances that were there so that I can perform at a high level.
Yeah, I think that's a really major thing, because as you were talking, what I was hearing on my head is that people that are high emotionally can't be trusted, because you don't know when they're going to snap off. You don't know how they're going to handle challenges. So you can't take them negative information because you're not sure. You can't take them positive information because you're not sure. They're too extreme. So they can't be trusted to handle you or really anything appropriately. So I think that's a challenge to all of us, is to be able to manage our emotions, to be able to sift so that we can be trusted with ourselves, with things that matter, with people that matter, with circumstances that matter. Because like in your example, when you think of when pressure gets on and people can't perform, that it makes it a lot harder the next time. Yeah. And to pass that ball to them at the end of the game, it's like, I don't know how you're going to act. Right. I don't know what you're going to do. So I think that this whole dialogue about how we deal with our emotions is just really critical, because it feeds back into, okay, what's going on with our relationships? What's going on with our lives? How we're not successful because we're not able to master us.
And let me just say this, as we're ready to close out, it's like, if every time your spouse, your significant other, your family member, y'all get into some kind of disagreement and you run, you can't handle pressure. Ooh. So like, how do they know you're not gonna run when we get in? Really, you know what I mean? Like, I can't get the trust part. You just came and made me think about that. Like, man, I can't trust you not to run away when it gets tough.
That's deep. That's a whole show by itself.
Maybe.
I can't trust you not to run when things get challenging. So it's not just popping off.
Right.
It's like going out. Checking out. Yep. All right. Well, let us know your thoughts. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you connect with us on Facebook and Instagram, and check out our website for more content and resources, fusedmarriages.com. Let's talk about it.
You're listening to Fused with Tristan and Michael.